Here's an update on what happened in Israel and Palestine on the 31st of August. The Trump administration and international partners are discussing proposals to build a Riviera of the Middle East on the rubble of Gaza. This would establish US control over the Gaza Strip, and they would pay Palestinians to leave. So this post-war plan is envisioning voluntary relocation of the entire Gazan population. A post-war plan for Gaza circulating within the Trump administration, modeled on Trump's vow to take over the enclave, would turn it into a trusteeship administered by America for at least 10 years, while it's being transformed into a tourism resort and apparently also a high-tech manufacturing and technology hub. The 38-page plan envisions at least a temporary relocation of all of Gaza's 2 million people, either through what it calls voluntary departures to another country, such as Egypt or Jordan, or to some country in Africa, or into restricted secured zones inside the Gaza Strip during the reconstruction. Those who own land would be offered a digital token by the trust in exchange for rights to redevelop their property or to be used to finance a new life in some other country, or eventually redeemed for an apartment in one of 8 new AI-powered smart cities to be built in Gaza. Each Palestinian who chooses to leave would be given a $5,000 cash payment and subsidies to cover 4 years of rent elsewhere, as well as a year of food. Also, according to 3 Israeli officials, Israel is considering annexation in the West Bank as a possible response to France and several other countries now deciding to recognize Palestine as a sovereign state. Apparently, extension of Israeli sovereignty to the West Bank was on the agenda of Netanyahu's security cabinet meeting on Sunday. As it says here, it's not exactly clear where this annexation would take place, whether only in Israeli settlements or some of them, or in specific areas of the West Bank like the Jordan Valley. And the reason it's not exactly clear is because there's certain Israelis who want to annex every inch of the West Bank, and there's other Israelis who only want to annex Area C of the West Bank, which is the part that Israel fully controls, and it makes up 60% of the West Bank. So no Israeli officials have been clear of whether it will just be Area C or the entire West Bank. For now, we don't know. Here's what happened in the West Bank. Israeli forces arrested 9 people in a wave of overnight raids and arrests in the West Bank. According to the Wafa news agency, they arrested 6 people in towns near Bethlehem. They arrested 2 people in a town near Hebron. They stormed a refugee camp near Ramallah and arrested a man after searching his home. And they raided several homes in a village near Nablus, damaging residents' property and deploying snipers on their rooftops. Israel also set up a new settlement neighborhood near Hebron. 10 families recently settled in a new neighborhood near the Israeli settlement of Kiryat Arba in the West Bank, in the occupied part of the West Bank. And this new neighborhood marks the first Israeli expansion in the area in decades. Israeli settlers attacked and looted Palestinian homes near Bethlehem. A group of Israeli settlers attacked Palestinian homes in the village of Kisan near Bethlehem in the West Bank. The Wafa news agency reported that settlers who were protected by the Israeli army broke into Palestinian homes and looted them. According to the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, so far this year they've recorded more than 1,000 Israeli settler attacks across the West Bank, which caused casualties or damaged property. That's 1,000 this year. Israeli forces raided Ramallah and Al-Bireh. Ramallah is the capital city of Palestine, the de facto capital in the West Bank. The Israeli army raided several areas in Ramallah and Al-Bireh governorate in the West Bank, days after launching a prolonged raid on the area, according to Wafa. The military raided a few towns, but they didn't conduct any arrests. Palestinians were wounded after gunfire was reported in areas of Hebron in the West Bank. Footage circulating online showed intense and continuous gunfighting in areas south of Hebron, and Wafa reported that 5 Palestinians, including a girl, were wounded by Israeli bullets and they were taken to hospital for treatment. More people also suffered from suffocation after Israeli soldiers fired tear gas. Israeli settlers injured more people in the West Bank, and a child was arrested in Jenin. As Israeli soldiers shot Palestinians during raids on southern Hebron in the West Bank, settlers were also launching another violent attack nearby. A Palestinian man and his wife were injured during a settler attack on a village in Masafer, according to Wafa. And Wafa also said that the Israeli settlers detained a number of Palestinians before taking away 3 men with them. In the city of Jenin, Israeli soldiers arrested a child and a young man after raiding their homes in the town of Yabad. Israeli forces also fired bullets and sound bombs and set up a military checkpoint at the entrance to Surah village, which is near Nablus. Israeli forces make some more arrests as new raids hit Nablus and Ramallah. Israeli raids took place in the southern areas of Bethlehem, and Wafa reported that a 37-year-old Palestinian man was arrested and his vehicle was seized by Israeli soldiers in the town of Beit Fajar. In Nablus, Israeli soldiers attacked the village of Sarah and the town of Sebastia, firing live ammunition and sound bombs, but no injuries were recorded. In the town of Nilin in Ramallah, a 25-year-old man was arrested during an incursion. The Minister of Defense of Israel, Israel Katz, that's his name, has claimed that an Israeli attack has killed the spokesman of the Hamas military, who is Abu Obaida. The military of Hamas, the Qassam brigades, reported an attack on Israeli armored vehicles in northern Gaza. Hamas's military said that its fighters successfully attacked 2 Israeli military vehicles in Gaza City. The Qassam brigade said a tank of the Israeli army was hit by a shell, while a military bulldozer was targeted with an explosive device on a street southwest of the Zaytun neighborhood of the besieged area. Now onto Gaza. Israeli forces bombed tents in central Gaza. Palestinian sources reported that at least 2 people were killed after Israeli jets bombed the tents of displaced people in an area northwest of Gaza City. Palestinian media also reported that an Israeli air raid was carried out in an area north of Khan Yunis. Israeli attacks also killed 1 person in a refugee camp, and many people were also wounded in this air raid. A child was also shot dead in southern Gaza by Israeli forces. According to Wafa, the Israeli forces fired on tents of displaced people in southern Gaza, killing a child and wounding several other people. They also fired on aid seekers south of the city of Khan Yunis, resulting in multiple casualties. There have also been ongoing artillery attacks in several areas of northern Gaza, including in Jabalia. A Palestinian mother and her 3 children were killed in an Israeli attack on a house in northern Gaza, according to an emergency services source. Over the past 24 hours in the north, 3 people were killed and 5 were wounded when tents sheltering displaced families were struck by Israeli forces west of Gaza City. In Gaza City, civil defense reported a fire in tents near Al-Quds Hospital after Israeli shelling. 5 people were killed and 3 wounded when a residential apartment was hit near the Ramal neighborhood. In central Gaza, crews recovered the bodies of 2 people from a previously targeted house belonging to the Al-Hafi family in Nuseirat. 5 wounded people were transferred to hospitals. And in Khan Yunis, civil defense said its staff were wounded in an attack on Nasser Hospital, along with 2 civilians. According to the director of the Gaza government's media office, The Israeli army is using explosive robots in residential areas and forcibly displacing Palestinians. In a Twitter statement, he said that the army has detonated more than 80 such devices in civilian neighborhoods over the past 3 weeks, and he called it a scorched earth policy that has destroyed homes and endangered lives. According to medical sources, 32 aid seekers were killed in Israeli attacks across the Gaza Strip. And in another attack, 2 people, including a child, were killed and others were injured after an Israeli drone bombed a residential building in the Maghazi refugee camp in central Gaza. Elsewhere, 1 person was killed and several others were wounded in an Israeli attack on a residential building in the Sabra neighborhood of southern Gaza City. Israeli forces killed another Palestinian journalist in Gaza. According to the Gaza Government Media Office, the journalist Islam Muhareb Abed has been killed in an Israeli attack on Gaza City, and this brings the total number of media workers killed in the war in Gaza to 247. In the past 24 hours, a total of 7 people died of starvation in the Gaza Strip, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. These deaths bring the total number of starvation deaths in the Gaza Strip to 339, including 124 children. Israeli attacks killed 88 people on Sunday, and also wounded 421 people, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. This included 30 people killed while seeking aid. These deaths bring the total number of deaths in the Gaza war to 63,459, and also brings the total number of wounded people to 160,256. That's all the updates for today. Thank you for watching.